First question, Don.
Mhm.
What does the word authentic/authenticity mean to Don?
Someone who's real, someone who's not artificial. What you see is what you get. They're not a pretender. Someone that's not into office politics. We've all been flim-flammed by promises, and I see that continually, and that's not authentic. And frankly, it's why by training and by trade, I'm a commercial real estate broker. Now, I specialize in representing corporate tenants. I've been in the business like 35 years, and I did that almost from day one because I saw that was where my true allegiance was. I've always worked for a small company, and then I went off on my own. I have my own company, iOptimize Realty. One of the key things that drove me to having my own company and being my own man was that I could never stomach the BS politics that are involved. When you look at most of the big commercial real estate firms, most of their revenue comes from representing landlords, right? No surprise in that. But then they go off and they like to say they're tenant reps, or now they euphemistically say corporate services. And people from the same company who work for the same bosses will tell corporate tenants that they're representing their interest. And that's malarkey. That's like the analogy I often like to make is, imagine if you had an important legal case. Would you ever consider hiring the opposing side's attorney? No way, right? Because it's an absolute conflict of interest. Matter of fact, an attorney that does that, we get disbarred. But believe it or not, Marcus, in commercial real estate, it's done all the time. And so that's why I have my own firm. We do what's right. We're not motivated by money. I mean, we certainly want to make money.
Sure.
But we put our clients' interests first. And you like the way we work, and there's a fit, or if you want someone that with a big company that's conflicted, then more power to you. But we have our share of clients that respect that we have their back, and we're never going to represent. We never represent landlords. Nothing against landlords, but you have to pick your sides, right? So that's one of our principles. What's one of our core beliefs. Early on, I saw that there were people looking at space. I specialize in office and warehouse space, and they were not getting a fair shake. They weren't being told about all the properties. They would be, what the typical brokerage firm would do is tell them mostly about the properties that their firm has the exclusive on. They wouldn't tell them that down the block was a better property that could be had for a lesser rent because they didn't have the exclusive on it. So I didn't like that. And when I started representing tenants, there wasn't even really a term of art at the time. It later became known as tenant rep. And that's what I've been doing my whole career. I've never represented landlords. It's like attorneys. Each side needs to have their own representatives. So that's how I brought authenticity wove it into my business. And with this as of today, the way we look at things, we produce a tremendous amount of content, and it's all valuable content. We're educating.
I really like, Don, your perspective on giving people information, letting them know what you could do for them, and letting them decide for themselves, do they want to work with you? And I feel that is huge, because you want to come off as someone that is trying to add value and not trying to be someone who's trying to be like what we call a used car salesman, or trying to come across very slick, very fast talking,
manipulative.
Yes.
When I started also in commercial real estate, I read this book by Zig Ziglar. Right? Great motivational speaker. I read his book. And what I loved about it, other than it wasn't about manipulation. What Zig Ziglar clearly said, put your client first. Don't think of yourself. Those that think of their own pockets, ironically, don't do that well. Those that put their clients first, always think of your client's interest, and you will be rewarded in turn. And that was my first book on quote unquote selling, but it really wasn't about selling. It was about treating people right. One of the core concepts I've always had, and it's one of the reasons why I love having my own company, and I could not last a day in some of the big companies where there's a lot of CYA going on. You know, I'd either quit or they'd fire me, frankly, because I wouldn't kiss their ass. I'm just not about that. And so, right, I couldn't. I tell a bad boss they're a bad boss. And they'd say, you know, there's a door, and that's okay. So, right. But I believe totally in empowerment. I've always treated my people as team members, right? I'm privileged to be a leader and of a great team.